How about them boys?
10 seconds. Took 10 seconds.
Love football.
3 guys and a bear are ready to concede complete control of the show to Krendor. And here's Coach Krendor.
He's still going.
That's impressive.
Oh,
Get him
God.
down.
It's an
Get him
air
down.
raid.
He's having overkill. Get him down.
I don't think that's him anymore. I think he's looping it.
Emergency.
And I'm a
great.
smoker.
He's playing on hard mode.
That was actually the Dallas Cowboy alert system. It's all going terribly. Welcome. It's the divisional week of the NFL playoff.
Yeah.
Playoffs?
Divide my brain from enjoying football.
Dude, did you guys see that there was an ad with Jim Mora where he did the
Yes,
playoffs?
and
I
it was
didn't see
ruined. And I never want to make the joke again now.
I know.
Yeah, I hate when they do that.
Because it was DraftKings and it was Kevin
Yep.
Hart. And it was ruined. It was fucking ruined.
I was very
Because
sad about
we're not
that.
allowed to have things that are nice for long.
Yep.
Take what you have, hold them dear, because there's like a little clock ticking, and every fucking second that passes, you're closer to the end of being able to enjoy that little fucking thing that you like in your life.
I'm so tired of DraftKings, man. Unless they've got a big burlap sack with a $sign on it for us, in which case, big fan of DraftKings.
Yeah, DraftKings is great.
Yeah.
No, they don't
haven't
pay
given us the money yet.
No.
Stop.
Yeah,
You gotta
give us
stop.
the goddamn money.
Well, what a week of football.
I like my money to come in like briefcases, though. Instead of burlap
That'd be
sacks.
better.
That'd be pretty sweet.
That's
actually.
probably
I
how they
always
have to
wanted-
do business.
So,
You know, if I ever get like assigned to a big deal for anything, I'm gonna request
You
it
write that in
comes-
the contract.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Like,
I
can
don't want a
you
fucking
deliver it to me in a
check, dude. Are you
briefcase
kidding
of
me?
cash?
You'll have your turn, Krendor. Okay, just wait.
That's
all right?
fine, that's fine.
90% of the podcast.
I
is
wasn't
gonna
even
be
going to bring up
about
the
you.
Packers. I was going to talk about NFL news.
Oh, okay, NFL news.
That's true. Yeah.
This one actually relates to you. The Steelers.
Yeah, I know. I read it all. Okay.
Mike Tomlin says he's going to be the coach.
Or just like
Next
a
year.
duffel bag full of money really would be
Wait
cool too, I think.
to be defeated in the first round of next year's playoffs, too.
Ooh.
Or barely miss them, but get 9 wins exactly. No
Yeah.
more, no less.
Over
Yeah.
500, baby.
Yep.
I do think the Steelers could have won that game if they had Watt in.
If
The talent?
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Or
don't-
yeah,
Yeah, if they had
talent,
competent.
quarterback
wait,
play.
I was
Remember the
gonna-
QBs that the man had to work with this season, so you know.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
It's
And
not
the
the, but the
offensive
QB
coordinator.
wasn't necessarily the like Mason. Like, do we want to talk about the game? Because like,
Nah,
Well,
nah,
yeah,
yeah,
we're
we're
in a
just,
new
there you go.
segment.
That's just
not
Mike
yet.
Tomlin.
I mean, it's just Mike Tomlin.
It's all
but
right.
I have so
Yeah,
much
I
to
fired
say
him
about
up
Mike
already.
Tomlin, man.
Yeah.
We had Jason Kelsey is retiring.
That's sad.
Oof.
That is sad.
He's the only Kelsey I liked.
Yeah. His body is probably destroyed. They had a thing that said Jason Kelsey yelled during each tush push play, "F my life."
Yeah.
Because
That sounds terrible.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're literally just getting slammed into by like
Yeah.
4 giant super athletes. Like
That's
Yeah.
what I swear to God, I got like I've this is one of those Bernstein Bears type of things where I swore before this season that this was illegal, an illegal maneuver because of that reason, because you're like smashing people,
Well,
your own players from behind, and
it
it's
will be
dangerous.
Yeah, it will be soon. I think at the
Yeah.
end of this season, it's going to be illegal, but it's
And
still
now the
legal
Eagles
now.
can't complain about it anymore because they suck.
And it
Yeah.
got stopped in their playoff game.
Leonard Fournette has been released by the Buffalo Bills practice squad. I didn't even know he was on their practice squad.
I didn't even know
Yeah,
he was
that's
still
interesting.
around. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you get released from a practice squad, man?
That's
It might be
a
one
great
of those
question.
contract things that I don't know if you guys remember from it was the Chiefs that were doing it a couple of years ago with a running back. CJ Anderson, maybe? But it was like you know, 1 week the Chiefs released CJ Anderson, the next week they signed CJ Anderson to the practice squad, and you know, it was like some kind of contract thing.
I see.
So maybe they're doing that.
It's possible. We also had some news we missed last week, which
right.
Yeah, wait.
Right.
There's a
Yeah.
whole other conversation we need to have.
Yep.
Yeah, a massive
So,
one. Yeah,
starting with the Seahawks firing Pete Carroll. I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, what the hell? I just he's not even fully fired either, right? Like, they forced him to step down, and he's like in a John Elway type position.
Get an administrative type role or something.
Mm-hmm.
He do be old.
I mean, he's old, but apparently he wants to keep coaching. And I mean, I don't know. Like, they seems pretty good still.
It's crazy to me how old he is because he doesn't look that old at all. He looks pretty young.
No, he's in great shape. Yeah, he's a gym rat type fella.
Yeah. He seems like he loves doing it too. Like he's like a player's guy.
Because we didn't hear anything about everyone knew the other one was going to happen, but like it was just like, oh, okay, well.
Yeah, I don't really fully get it, honestly.
I don't either.
And I don't know who's gonna coach the Seahawks now. Like
Bill Belichick.
Bill
Right? Yeah.
Well, everyone. Well, speaking of Bill Belichick,
Bill Belichick fired.
Bill Belichick.
Quote
saying his
fired.
name. That's the segment. We're just gonna say his name over and over again.
I said this had to happen like halfway through the season.
I
everyone
couldn't
was like,
believe it,
"You're crazy."
I still think it's still pretty fucking wild, honestly.
I think it's the right decision because
He
I
was
don't
not
think
fired. First of all, like it was a mutual.
he was
Yeah,
fired.
it was
he
was firing.
It was a
he
firing
was-
without saying the word firing.
Yeah.
It's
it was
just
a
like
firing with respect.
it's a respectful fire.
Discharged honorably.
Yeah.
They're just like, Bill, it's I've really loved being with you, and he's like, I've liked it here too, and then they just walk away, and that's like it.
I mean, I don't call that a firing. I call that like both parties probably. I mean, Bill must agree to some extent that his time is up. Otherwise,
He agrees
I don't think this would
enough
happen.
that he won't say that he was fired. I will give you that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even really worth debating, honestly. I did want to take a second though and just acknowledge, like, I grew up a Patriots fan as a kid. Like, I fucking love the Patriots, and since then they've kind of soured me. But I do have like a lot of special place in my heart for this fucking Patriots dynasty, man. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Like, it was 20 years nearly of dominance.
24.
And it was cool to see, and it was cool to like grow up in that town at that time as it was just beginning. And it's wild to me that it's concluded completely.
I'm glad someone enjoyed it.
No, I hated every minute of it.
I hear that.
Yeah. But
I'm excited to see where he goes. Everyone's saying probably Atlanta. He's already spoken with Atlanta, with Arthur, whatever the fuck his name is.
that would be wild.
Arthur Smith.
I mean, I guess they
or
have
Arthur
defense. Maybe that's why he cares. But I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Atlanta's
they've
got a
got
lot of
pieces.
pieces. Yeah, they just need a quarterback. So surely this time.
I don't know, man. Like, I feel like this is the same conversation we were having at the preseason, where people were like, "Oh, the Falcons are a top 10 team," and I'm like,
well, no,
what?
I was saying they weren't, but like, watching them play, you watch Bijan Robinson. He's a stud. He's
good.
Drake
very
London
good.
is insane. Like Drake London looks like Mike Evans.
They've got Pittman or Pittman Jr.
Oh,
What's
Kyle.
That's Colts.
Kyle Pitts.
Kyle
Pitts.
Pitts, right?
Yeah, that's Pittman Pitts.
Yeah.
How has he done, actually?
And their
He had
defense
an
isn't
okay year.
horrible. It's a defense that you don't think about that often, so it means they're not good or bad, which is probably fine enough.
Yeah. I think and they're in the shitty NFC South.
Yeah, like that's a great division to go shit on because
yeah,
they're all
bit of a
broken.
window
The
as
Saints,
anybody.
the Saints and Panthers are completely broken for the next like 3 years. They have nothing.
Yeah.
And the Bucks might. I mean, they still got.
Dude,
they're
the
riding
Bucks
on
might be the fucking
fumes,
Super
man.
Bowl this year for real.
I don't.
Oh,
think
you know,
so, but-
maybe that's why Bill wants to go there, is because Todd Bowles is there, and he thinks, I did this. I already
No,
did
Todd
this
Bowles
for.
is the Bucks.
He wants to do the Tom Brady.
That's what I
He's
mean.
like, I'll go to the
That's what
NFC
I'm saying.
South.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
That's what I'm
right,
saying.
right,
It's
right.
like
Okay, I
Todd
see what
Bowles
you're
is because he already
in the
he
division.
already
Yeah.
exactly. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, if it's Atlanta, I don't know, man. I think that's a bad place for him. I would
Some people are saying Dallas.
Yeah.
Dallas would be good. That Dallas would be great for him because it's already got an offense.
I know we're going to talk plenty about Dallas. How is Mike
Right.
McCarthy not fired yet? How have I not seen that
Yeah.
news
Fucking
headline
crazy,
yet?
That
Yeah.
is,
We're in the go back 1 year to the podcast where I said the same thing, and here we are again. How is he not fired? How is he not fired?
I don't know
Look,
how he got hired.
I'm gonna be honest though, like the results on the field, at least in the regular season, is 12 wins each year.
Yeah,
but
that
who
he's
cares?
been.
An utter
Yeah, I mean,
embarrassment
yeah.
every time he's even looked at the playoffs.
Well, this was
Yeah.
the most embarrassing.
This was
yeah, but last year was
humiliation.
also pretty embarrassing too. Like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is
He
the
lined
first
up
embarrassing-
Ezekiel Elliott as center. Remember that? He fucking got rolled
The
over.
only reason I bring it up now is that like this is a very, very stacked coaching rehiring year. You've got
Yeah.
all these good coaches floating around. Like you got
Yeah,
Jim
Harbaugh might
coming
come
in.
coming-
Like,
yeah.
you got all this going on, and it's like I don't think you want to waste any time making people think you will or will not have a coach next year. Get rid of him now. Like,
Yeah.
get into the mix and start
see,
getting these interviews going.
The thing is, so I think there's two factors there with the Cowboys thing. Like, I think, you know, in actually a similar vein to Tomlin, there may be an argument to be said that, like, yeah, I mean, these playoff losses are pretty bad. You maybe want someone else because you do have just high-powered players, right?
Yeah.
So a good coach will be able to do a good job in theory. But at the same time, the Cowboys don't fire coaches that quickly. You know, like they're another team
That's a
that's similar
Jerry
to the
Jones
Steelers.
problem.
Exactly,
It
it's
is.
Jerry Jones. Now here's the second factor. Jerry Jones is old as shit, right? He looks like my nuts. So what I'm saying is he
Probably smells
Your
like
nuts
him,
are
too.
worth
Yeah,
$1
it probably
billion.
does, yeah, but
I want
he
a couple more seconds on that. Hold on.
It was really
probably doesn't
unnecessary. but-
Candor was when she said it.
Look,
it was just really
I just-
satisfying.
looks
to me.
like
I just
nut.
I'm not a big fan of you know, rich
Yeah, no,
old
that's
billionaires
clear,
from
I think,
Texas. But anyway, yeah, no. So
Hey man, that was a low
he's a
blow.
wrinkly old jerky person
Nice.
now. So I'm just saying that he doesn't have that much time left. So maybe he will think about actually, you know, going
Yeah.
ahead and because I mean, how many coaches is he going to survive? This is a very morbid
Yeah.
conversation, but I'm just saying, you know,
Yeah.
like from this point, like, because how long was Garrett there? Like 10, 12,
too long?
15
Too
years?
long?
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
a while,
And the guy
yeah.
before that was Wade Phillips.
Yeah, Wade
right?
Phillips.
Yeah.
Wade Phillips was there for like 8 years. Like he was, you know, they keep coaches for a long time, but
Mhm.
you know,
Maybe
maybe
he was
maybe
only
there's gonna be some
81. Why does he look like 95?
Yeah.
Is he really only
Yeah, he's
81?
like
He's
the
only
anti Pete
81.
Carroll.
Yeah, he's
you know
only
what?
like,
Maybe I'm
what's that, 8 years older than Pete Carroll? And Pete Carroll's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
crazy buff.
Pete
and
Carroll's
shit.
72.
to
Yeah.
actually, now that you've said his actual age, that he's a billionaire. He's gonna live to like 120.
Yeah,
so
that's
like
true. He's never gonna
he
die.
probably is
I
gonna
mean,
survive
he
many
is salting
coaches.
his McMuffins, though. So
That's a
You never
good
know.
point. Yeah.
That is psychotic.
Dude,
Yeah.
this is probably a stat that you guys might even know off the top of your head, but it's just wild to me. How long has it been since the Dallas Cowboys won a non-wild card playoff game?
Oh,
90s.
95.
The 90s,
95. 1995
Troy
was
Aikman.
their last divisional
Michael
win.
Irvin, Emmett Smith. That was it.
Yeah.
That's insane, dude.
Yep.
I was. That's
Yep.
bad. They had Tony Romo forever too. Like Romo
Yep.
wasn't a bad quarterback.
Yeah.
Now Tony Romo for if we were running the podcast during that time, I guarantee I would have been defending Tony Romo
Yeah,
against
probably-
everyone
probably
else, the
would.
rest of you fuckers.
He's just as good as Derek.
He has solid statistical. He's just had a bad situation. He injured
McNabb's
over
got
and
nothing
over.
on Romo.
Yeah.
But I think Romo's a good case study in like what you might
Yeah.
get with an average quarterback. Years of almost, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but see,
That's
and
why
that's the
it's
thing
so
with
scary.
Romo. Like he was like he kind of was like a less severe Sam Bradford in both respects. Like because like when Sam Bradford would play, he was like a top 10 QB.
Yeah.
But you would only get like 3 games a
Yeah.
year out of him, right?
Mm.
And Tony Romo would play like 10 games a year, and then he'd play like 4 games heavily injured with like a punctured lung and stuff.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't be like a top 10 QB, but he'd be like top 15, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, they just could never really, they had some really strong teams in that era too.
I love
Yeah.
that you've like actually taken on the mantle of defending Tony.
I know.
And I'm
Because
over here
it
like
was-
Tony
yeah.
Tony Romo was a worst case scenario, I think, for like a quarterback position, because you think of Tony Romo, but think about all of the quarterbacks that Dallas could not draft because they stuck with Tony Romo.
Yep.
And like
Yeah.
it's I'm not saying that they would have picked up someone like, I don't know, Russell Wilson or Patrick Mahomes or et cetera. I don't even know if he was playing when Mahomes was drafted.
That's a good question.
His last year was
Mm.
2015-16.
And that was the year that
Okay.
Mahomes was drafted, I think. So he was right on the cusp of that.
Yeah, he's probably like
Right.
there.
Yeah, they might have had a chance to draft them even, but no, like my point is that like it's so scary. Like to me, I'd rather have like a terrible nightmare quarterback who's going to get fired in a year than be stuck with someone who is just barely not good enough for 15 fucking years.
Well, that's kind
that's-
of like the issue the Bears have right now, right? Like they're
Yeah.
like Justin Fields, and they're like, he's good, but is he great? And you have to hope that he's gonna be great, or you can just reset and be like, let's just get one of these crazy quarterbacks and hope they're insane. So I mean,
It's kind of like Dak Prescott right now. Dak
Yeah.
Prescott's a bona fide Tony Romo. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
he puts up these crazy numbers, and then he walks into a very huge, important game and shits the bed every single
Yeah.
time.
yeah,
It
And
is actually really funny how similar Dak's career has been to Tony's career. Although I will say that Dak Prescott, I think he has more volume in general than Tony
I do feel like
ever
Dak
did.
Prescott has the higher ceiling than Romo, but
Yeah.
like it's a factor that people don't give enough credit. Like mental fortitude when you're in a stressful moment is so much more important than your actual skill level.
yeah,
Like I think that's why someone like Mahomes is so valued, is because not only is he just good, but he's good no matter what. Like he gets better the more stressful it is, almost.
Yeah.
Like that's a key strat. That's why I enjoyed watching Ben, because Ben wasn't like he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, but he wasn't like, no one talked to him in the same grouping as Brady or Mahomes
Or Breeze
or
those guys,
Breeze.
yeah.
Or yeah. But man, when it mattered, Ben got that shit done. And that's like
Yeah.
an important statistical thing, because that's how you win a Super Bowl. You actually don't need the best quarterback in the world. You need the quarterback that's going to perform
Mhm.
Nick
I
Foles
agree.
style.
Yeah. Yep.
Like
No, the
Mahomes
last time
was
that
2017, by the way. Sorry, I just wanted to correct
okay.
that.
The last time the Jets were relevant, we had Mark Sanchez, who was, to be honest, pretty terrible in the regular season, but in the playoffs he was money. Like, and that's really kind of what you
Yeah.
needed,
I
right?
mean, that's
like,
why they
and
bring
it-
up those playoff win stats too. Like every time,
Yeah.
that's what they brought up with Dak. There's like playoff wins. He's got 2.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Patriots had a guy that was pretty good in the playoffs for a little while.
I don't know
Yeah.
who that would be.
Yeah.
Mac Jones, I think he played a playoff
that's the
game,
one.
right?
he
got-
was
yeah.
in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's true.
Pocket composure,
Which,
baby.
bringing it back around, Bill Belichick.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we still didn't even talk about that. Really,
I saw a stat that said he's drafted more coaches than 1,000-yard receivers, which is
Christ.
pretty funny. And they
I
went
mean,
on
how many
to
receivers has he fucking drafted at all?
wasn't there a
Well,
stat that he like
lots.
skipped Debo Samuel and
yes,
Oh, yeah.
and
AJ Brown? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been telling you guys, he's fucking not a very good drafter.
It said they
over the
both
years.
came to Foxborough, and he said they had a good jovial ability to poke at each other and laugh together, and Belichick was leery that they weren't taking the visit seriously enough. And so he decided to go with N'Keal Harry.
Yep.
So yeah, I think he's just a little too serious at times.
This is why I was saying earlier in the year, and I hope that with the place that he goes next, he yields GM responsibilities. Let
Yeah.
someone else deal with that.
That was actually something I was going to bring up when we were discussing this. Like, how much of Belichick's Patriots or Patriot way do you think is going to transfer to wherever he goes? Because
Yeah.
there's a lot more players from that era coming and speaking out now about the fact that, like, well, I mean, there's an Amendola quote that's going around right now that it says they worked for Bill, but they played for Tom. Like they knew that they were participating in a system that was pretty draconian, for lack of like a kinder word for it. But like they were buying into it because they had a guy that was like 100% committed to that.
Well, you
Right.
don't want an Aaron Rodgers to the Jets scenario. You bring
Yeah.
way too much Aaron Rodgers over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like it's probably gonna be an expectation
Right.
when Bill arrives, is that's coming with him, is we're transforming the culture of X team to fit his scheme.
Yep. Almost certainly. Yeah. And I mean, we've seen at least his I don't know what you'd call them, underlings.
Yeah,
and they're
his
spread
coaching
out.
tree.
Right. And they've tried to do similar things and have met with pretty poor results.
They're not fucking Bill Belichick.
Right. Well, that's the question, right? That's the question you're asking, even, really, is that like, is it gonna work another time? Right? Because as far as we know, it's kind of shitty. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of
no, that's what I'm talking about, is
Yeah.
players probably do not want to buy into that system, and a
Right.
lot of their incentive for doing so, at least the players that were arriving like post first 3 Super Bowls, was, why the fuck would I question this? Clearly it's working.
Yeah.
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 But now that almost certainly is not going to hold the same sway as it once did.
This is why I say I think if he goes anywhere, he needs to go somewhere that already has a good offense, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere that, because his strength is special teams and defense, right? And that was the winning formula.
Have a good offense. I think they just need a quarterback. And I think they can get
that
one.
The Falcons have a good offense. I'm just gonna be honest.
I mean,
I think Bijan Robinson is good. I think Drake London is good. I think
Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I was looking at Kyle Pitts stats, and he had.
I mean, that's already 3 of your. That's like a third of your offense.
Well, I mean, again, I was just looking at Kyle Pitts stats, and he seems, pretty good. But like, he's like he's like a middle of the road tight end, right? Like,
well, I think part of that is because his quarterbacks are so bad.
Yeah. Desmond Ritter is horrible.
Yeah, well, and
Arthur
so that's the
Smith
thing.
kept trotting out a horrible quarterback.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, please start Heineke. Like, we know Heineke's bad, but Desmond Ritter is bad.
Yeah.
And he just kept bringing him out.
See, that's the thing. Do you think... I personally, I don't think that Bill Belichick should go to a team where he's going to be expected to train up a rookie QB. I don't think that's really his strength.
I
would like that a lot, actually. Oh,
that
that
could be
is a good
Fields,
idea.
Belichick and Falcons. Oof, that's a combo.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, yeah. But either way, I think he's going to need, like, if I were advising him, so Bill, I know you're out there listening.
Yeah.
I would say go to a place with a QB already situated, or one that you can get, like Russell Wilson, right? He's going to be in the
it
wind
could be
right
Russell
now.
Wilson too.
So,
that'd be a fun pairing, dude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
there's
he kind of
interesting potential.
Russell Wilson's actually a good one because it gives the yin yang. You have like the grittiness of Belichick, but then you have the like, oh boy, guys, of like Russell Wilson.
Right.
So you get a good balance. But then on the Patriots, we now have Gerard Mayo.
Gerard Mayo.
Who
I don't like it.
I thought it was gonna be Vrabel, but I guess
it was apparently written into Belichick's contract that might be next.
Yeah,
kind of crazy.
He might be great. Maybe they'll hit and he'll be a great coach. I don't really care, but like, you guys know me. I'm in my like anti-nepotism arc where it's like, please stop hiring people who just know other people and like have just like try to find someone new. Man, my God,
there is an argument for Mayo though.
I would say
he hasn't head coached before, so like, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, I think actually Vrabel might have been worse because I just think that's like Belichick light. And
I think that would have been the nepotism hire. I think think because Mayo, the thing about Mayo right now is like I kind of hope he's successful. I mean, not really because I'm in the division, but like I do kind of hope he's successful because he's an internal hire, right?
Yeah.
Like, he used to play for the team, and then he's been effectively defensive coordinator for the past couple of years, right?
Yeah.
Like, so even though
he's
that's
only played for the Patriots, he's only coached for the Patriots. So like it makes logical sense despite the connections that may not be there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Demeco Ryans, I think they're hoping for, right? Because he was like a similar situation. Although I don't think he was promoted, but he played with the team and like is obviously respected.
Yeah, I mean, my main issue with it is he's a defensive coach. I just don't. I'm biased against defensive coaches. I think it's a bad choice in general.
He's also the new youngest head coach in history.
Yes.
He's a year younger than McVay was when he started with the Rams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
which
that's
is pretty wild.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
We're very rapidly approaching that age.
Yeah.
Fucking ancient.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And then the final big hire was the Washington Commanders hiring Adam Peters as their general manager, which you might be like, I don't know who that is, but this guy helped build the 49ers. So that's pretty good.
That seems like a good hire,
Yeah. So
well, in theory, I was reading some discussion about that, and apparently it's long been they've had so apparently this guy handled the back half of the draft and the other GM handled the front half of the draft. But also that may be bullshit because it's from sports journalism, so it might be and so apparently within the 49ers fan base there's been for the whole time arguments between them about who's the GM that's actually getting these good players. Is it Adam Peters or is it the other guy? And so I guess we're gonna see.
To be fair, it is the Commanders. Like, it's not hard to do better than what the Commanders were doing.
It's a good point.
And those are all the main coaching things we've seen so far. Nothing else really crazy. The Bears fired Luke Getsy, their offensive coordinator. Cool.
And they did not fire their coach.
Nope,
Very interesting choice.
I don't know how they function. They're just like, this guy's all right. We like him. And it's like, he's not bad. He's not good. It's like, okay, so are they going to like draft the quarterback and do the same thing where they have him sit behind their coach that's been there a few years and then they fire the coach next year? Then they're like, all the good coaches got hired last year. Better get some random guy that loves defense. And then the new quarterback gets screwed over. It's like they're like just the worst formula for new players.
They're the Jets of the NFC.
They're really
funny that I kind of zoned out and didn't hear who you guys were talking about, but I instantly know who it is based off the things you were saying.
Yeah. It's a very confusing. I mean, and granted, 7 wins, I guess, is
now.
Okay.
The funny part is the Bears were like, finally, guys, Rodgers is gone. It's just a Lion, and now it's like we could have a Lions Packers NFC Championship game, and the Bears are just sitting there like, so when do we get to play?
Yeah, the Bears are in a terrible position because if the Vikings get their shit together and get Kirk Cousins back, they're also still good.
Yeah.
And then you have Jordan Love and the Packers now, and you have the Lions. You're fucked. You're fucked.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, if I was the Bears right now, I would fire the coach, get one of the new up and coming coaches, go offense, and then draft your new quarterback, and then go from there. And if you suck next year, who cares? Because you're playing for the year after. And that's just do that.
You know what it might be too is I bet all of those guys that we've been talking about, when we got the news, they probably got the news a month ago or weeks ago or something, right? Some of them maybe Pete Carroll or Bill. Maybe Jim Harbaugh's already been talking to people while he's in college or whatever. So I bet you even if they fire their coach right now, they're going to be behind the gun anyway, right? Of every other team that's already talking to these guys. Because I imagine they're already negotiating, right?
But even then, Harbaugh played for the Bears. So you would think they'd reach out hey, come back and coach for us. You loved it here, playing here. But they're just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
It's like they're doing
embarrassing.
Yeah.
But then we had football games this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Starting with the Browns Texans.
Holy
Dragon.
Yeah. To be fair, he was looking pretty elite up until he wasn't.
Yep.
And
he did pretty good in that first quarter. First 2 quarters.
I just want to say that, I didn't have a personally great weekend with my game, but it was nice to be proven stupidly, unbelievably correct after screeching from the top of the mountains about how the Browns were the most overrated team in the history of the playoffs.
Yeah.
I was saying that, and I was getting mad, and here we are, they stink. But
Yeah.
and the Cowboys too. We'll get to that. But
Yeah.
like both of them, I went. It's not. You don't magically become a good team by beating up on bad teams. That doesn't just make you a good team.
Yeah.
Context matters. Records are one thing. Who you actually played against is an entirely different thing. And here we are. We're in the playoffs, and those records don't mean shit anymore. You got to play football.
Yep.
I don't want to talk about the Browns anymore. CJ Stroud.
Yep.
CJ fucking Stroud, dude.
Yep.
This kid's a rookie. You kidding me? This is his first goddamn year in the league. 16 to 21, 274, 3 TDs, and a near perfect QBR. Like, this motherfucker is the real deal. It's so exciting for Houston. I remember at the end of last year talking on the show about how this team all of a sudden looks like they have a spark of life, and then they got a fucking meteor that hit that shit, and all of a sudden they're one of the best teams in the playoffs.
You know what's funny is Panthers could have had him.
Yep.
Bears actually could have had him.
Yep.
It's just, but he falls to the Texans, and they're just like, all right, we'll take him. And then literally they had like 3 wins last year, 3 wins. And now they're going to the divisional round. Like, it's actually one of the most insane turnarounds.
I'm so happy for this outcome. Fucking 45 to 14, 2 huge pick sixes, 2 huge passing plays from Stroud, including a 76-yard shot to Brevin Jordan at the end of the second, or at the beginning of the second quarter. Like, this team is hot, and they've got playmakers, dude. Like, we've been talking about them all year, but they all of a sudden have like a competent, complete offensive roster. And I think they have like a chance. Like, they're obviously not the favorite next week, but they look like contenders at least.
Hey guys, can I take a moment to shout out Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett? Round of applause.
Yep.
2 tackles. Let's go. 2 whole tackles. DPOY. Just wanted to shout out my boy. All right.
He has, I believe, 1 sack over the last 6 games or something like that. He had a pretty stellar conclusion to the season.
Hey, I'd like to also give a shout out to other Defensive Player of the Year, Micah Parsons, who had
Shout
2
out
tackles.
Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons.
Yep.
Number 2 candidate for Defensive Player. Round of applause, guys. Round of applause.
Yeah,
Well
really
done.
big stuff.
Well
Here,
done.
man. They did great.
Yeah.
So shout out my boy.
Yeah, I think that's enough for this game. Browns suck.
That's Browns suck. Honestly, the irony, or I guess the whatever it would be, of the Texans, who used to be the Deshaun Watson team, just crushing the current Deshaun Watson team.
It was justice finally.
Yeah, as they're just like, oh, hey, thanks for all the picks. See you later. And they're just like sitting there.
The were fantastic this year.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, they did a great job writing them up.
Did you guys mention the Baker Mayfield aspect of it all?
Oh no,
Baker Mayfield has advanced further than the Browns now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
It is fun. Also, callback. I wrote this down from one of our earlier episodes as one of the talking points. CJ Stroud's first pass in the preseason was an interception, and everyone was like, "Uh-oh." And that goes to show how much the preseason matters.
Yep.
And how much we can judge players off of a single throw.
Yeah.
But it was his first one. He's garbage.
Yeah.
Cut him. Then we had the Chiefs-Dolphins Ice Bowl.
This was the Chiefs versus the shambling corpse of the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
This is the
Dolphins,
second year in a row now the Dolphins have been limping into the playoffs with a million injuries, and that's about
like half their defense was hurt. Their offense,
And it was cold as shit.
It was cold as
Fuck
shit.
Waddle was playing, dude. They rushed him in, and he caught 2 fucking balls. Like,
You could tell
sad.
it gets even colder when you're down at like halftime and you're just like, guys, we're losing. We need to come back, and you start. It just gets worse and worse. So they were just not having it, and that's why
it just seems miserable, man. Like I have nothing. Not a lot can make me feel bad for these millionaire ball players, but goddamn, that just sucks.
Dude, I was saying these last like 4 days, it's been the same temperature here. I swear, I go outside for like 3 minutes in the parking lot to get to somewhere, and I'm like, yeah, I'm like dying. Like,
I know the NFL isn't scripted, but it is very annoying how both the Bills and the Chiefs seem to have like a bye week into their own matchup next week. Like, it's like, I know it's not scripted, but man, you make it seem like it is.
I mean, this is why the Dolphins had to beat the Bills, because they would add their home playoff game against the Bills, and then, you know, it's warm, like you have a much better shot, but instead,
didn't you say this is the coldest game Tua's ever played in?
Yeah.
Yep.
One of the, I think.
Yeah.
No, it is. It's the coldest. It was
really. I thought it was like the fourth coldest.
And I think they said they're 0-10 in the cold. So it's
crazy like that.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, just kind of an unsurprising outcome here. Not a lot to talk about. Like the Chiefs did Chiefs things, and the Dolphins couldn't do shit.
Yep.
I mean, I will say that the
Chiefs
Chiefs
field goals mostly.
Yeah, but I mean, like now the Chiefs are kind of like, it's, you know, if there's any kind of Brady magic that exists still in the NFL, then it's just like, all right, well, I guess they're going to the Super Bowl. You know,
well,
like if I saw a game like this with Tom Brady over the years, I would have been like, well, yeah, that's it, it's over.
It's really hard to judge because, like I said, the Dolphins were just husks, and the Steelers were children. So like it's Bills Chiefs. I don't know. Like I was feeling very mid on both of them going into the playoffs. So they might have a mid off next week. I don't know.
I mean, it's going to be more difficult for the Chiefs. If any, this would be the most impressive Chiefs playoff run if they did it, because they have to go to Buffalo. And then even if you win that, you have to go to Baltimore, or you're playing the Texans, who are red hot and would have beaten the Ravens, which would be crazy. Right. So like, it's no matter what it is, it's got to be a tough road.
I mean, we've been real sour on the Chiefs for a few weeks now, it feels like.
Well, they've been really bad.
Yeah. Since the Packers game, we've been like, well, this team's not very good anymore.
Well, they're just dropping passes. They're they're just playing bad. Yeah, like they're not playing like the Chiefs.
We all said, we said Mahomes playoffs, like he can just go on a run for no reason.
Yeah, I think that's the Brady magic he's talking about.
Yeah, I will say, I don't think the Dolphins are that great either, especially with all the injuries they've had. So like, it's not like that crazy of a win to me. It's like I expected this, and the Dolphins are bad in the cold. So it's like, all right, we'll see if they beat Buffalo in Buffalo. That's pretty good then.
I mean, I'm just sitting here begging. Like my dream is Texans Bills.
I agree.
Game.
Yeah,
that's just the best outcome because I like both those teams. The demons will be defeated for me, and then I can not care. Whenever my team gets eliminated, I think I said this last year too. All I can really root for is that I can watch a Super Bowl where I don't have to root against someone. That's why Rams Bengals for me was nice. Like I know I'm supposed to hate the Bengals, but I just don't. So like Rams Bengals, I could root for either team, would have been fun, and it was a great game to watch. And then I just I'm looking at this and I'm like, please not like Chiefs Niners or Raiders Niners, dude.
It's probably gonna be Chiefs Niners.
I'm nearly certain it's gonna be one of Ravens 49ers or Chiefs 49ers. Like I'm basically 100% sure it's gonna happen.
Like how cool would a Texans Lions Super Bowl be? That'd be the coolest. Like we're not gonna get it because it's too cool, and the universe hates cool things. It doesn't want the cool things to happen. It's gotta be the dumb things.
I still want the Bucks.
I still want the Bucks too, dude. I still firmly believe, like I've been saying that for a couple of weeks. Like this actually starts to look like a Bucks team that could go on a run. But yeah, we'll get to that in a sec.
I just wanted to mention one more thing from this game, which was Patrick Mahomes' helmet cracked.
Oh yeah,
that was crazy. Because it was so cold, and then getting hit, and I guess it just broke off.
Big fucking chunk of that thing broke off.
So that was pretty crazy. But aside from that, that was
not want to get hit in that. I really would.
No,
it was terrible.
Definitely not. Then we had,
what do we have then, Coach?
The game of the year, Packers Cowboys. This was like I thought it was like a dream. I thought I was in a fever dream. Like this was the most insane. This may have been my favorite Packer game I've seen since 2010. I'm not even joking.
I don't like the Cowboys, and even I started to feel bad for Cowboys.
Yeah. And it's funny because, like, if you look at the score, if you didn't watch the game and you look at the score 48-32, you're like, oh, wow, this was a shootout. Not a shootout.
Half their points came from prevent defense.
27-zip.
This was an immolation.
So I locked the Packers this week, right? Like, I was like, you know what? I'm going to lock them. I thought they could win, but I didn't think it was going to be what it was.
No one thought
Like,
this was going to happen.
No,
And
not at all.
I thought their best course of action was to get ahead early. And I think they knew that too. They were like, the Cowboys this entire year love to get ahead and make you play from behind, make you can't, like, oh, we can't run the ball. We got to catch up. And then you get pass rush and everything. But they came out and they were like, we're going to take the ball. And then they go down the field and they score a touchdown. And you could tell right then, like, you look at Dak Prescott and like all these, they're just like, oh shit. Uh-oh. And you could, like, something felt off. Like, you looked at CeeDee Lamb, he dropped that third down pass, he goes over and he's just like sitting there, and Dak Prescott's just like, God, McCarthy's looking all confused. They're like shoving people. They're just like, they just looked defeated after the first drive. And I was like,
wasn't there a whole thing with CeeDee Lamb and Dak during the game too? Like,
that's what it was. It was like the third, it was like the first play they did. And because he like dropped it and they just like goes over and they're like, what are you doing? And like, they just, you could tell it was like meltdown time. Like, the pressure was building on them, because then Dak throws the pick.
They weren't coached well.
Yeah, I remember. I was just like, Mike McCarthy. I mean, you go back to when they hired Mike McCarthy. I was like, why? Why are they hiring Mike McCarthy? I literally just watched Mike McCarthy get fired from Green Bay because his ideas were outdated. Like, when you have, in 2010, you know why he was good? Is because he like had a good West Coast offense idea. It was good for the time. You had Aaron Rodgers, you had all these good receivers, and they would just, you know, play into it. But then, it turns out when all your good receivers are gone, and you just can't figure out how to run it all. You have Aaron Jones, you're not using him. And then he's just like, oh no, guys. And then we fired him because we're like, this guy's bad. He has bad clock management. He has bad, he can't script anything. He can't get people open. And then guess what? He's still that. He's the same. Nothing's changed. And so the funny part here is Coach Mike McCarthy chose the Latin phrase, seize everything, as the Cowboys motto, with a collage. Guess what that does? Absolute nothing. It might motivate you in the hallway.
They seized everything. They seized up as well.
This was Matt LaFleur out. Somebody said Matt LaFleur was playing chess and Mike McCarthy was playing Candy Lane. Like, they're like, he wasn't even playing checkers. He was playing Candy Lane. He's flipping over a card and going like, do we win? I don't know if we won yet. Like, just you look at the play design. Like, Matt LaFleur clearly saw the weakness in the Cowboys defense, and he was like, oh, this will be easy. Like, you could already, and plus it's the Shanahan system, which the 49ers use, and the 49ers demolished the Cowboys. So I guarantee he just went back and looked at that, and he's like, oh yeah, they're trash. We'll just do this. And then they just go out, Aaron Jones, 3 touchdowns, just rolls over everybody. They couldn't stop him. They're undersized. Play action gets set up. So then Jordan Love just, oh my God, he's arrived. The funny part is everybody's like, dude, this young Packer team, can they keep up with the pressure of being in Dallas? Dude, Jordan Love looked like he's been playing 10 years. Like, and Dak Prescott looked like it was his first playoff game. Like, that was the funniest part about it, is like Jordan Love and CJ Stroud looked like the best quarterbacks in the NFL this week.
Yeah, they had like identical stat lines.
Yeah, they had, I think it was legit identical, but CJ Stroud had 2 more yards, which is like actually insane. But it was like every time the Cowboys would drive down the field and get points, and they were like, all right, guys, we're coming back. I was like, they still have to like stop the Packers. Like, did they forget about that? And then the Packers would just be like, play action, guys wide open 40 yards down the field. And they'd be like, geez, I forgot we got to play defense.
It was so funny because the whole time the like announcing crew was like, Dan Quinn, he's done such a good job. Dan Quinn, he's gonna get a head coaching job next year. Dan Quinn, and then like every time they said that, it was like, oh, about wide open for 900 yards, touchdown, double touchdown, triple. It's like,
Do you think there was some extra incentive for Aaron Jones to run the ball right down McCarthy's throat?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the last 2 times the Packers played the Cowboys, he's had like 150 yards. So, like, it's not even, and it was last year they played him. Like, so it's not even like it was that new. That's why when I looked at this game, I was like, I think this is actually a really good matchup for the Packers, because the Cowboys, like we've said, have just beat up shitty teams all year. And guess what happens when they played good teams? They would get destroyed. And
actually, well, I was going to say, to that point, something happened in this game that honestly, I've never seen in a playoff game, where the Packers rested their starters.
Yeah.
And then the Cowboys looked like they were coming back. That's what the score comes from. But like they were playing against the backups in the playoffs.
Yeah. And it was like the end of the third quarter they were doing that.
Yeah.
Like it was insane.
Brutal. That is fucking brutal.
My favorite part of all of it was just listening to the pregame stuff. And I'd be like, maybe they'll talk about Packer thing. It was just all Cowboys. They're like, I remember Jimmy Johnson was like, we'll see where the Cowboys are in a few weeks. Like he's already thinking ahead. And like all these guys, they're like, yeah, the Cowboys, I think it's Super Bowl or bust this year and all this stuff. And it's like, guys, you have to play a game, like wild card game. They just forgot.
Get the exact same treatment next week, by the way. I just want to let you know.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I didn't expect us to even be here. And now we're like playing for an NFC championship. Like it's like I said last week, this is all house money. Everything that happened is just like a bonus. We could have lost to the Cowboys and I'd be like, hey, you know what? Love played well. That's all I wanted. But like, no, we demolished. Now I'm just like, dude, this is insane.
You doubled up on your house money.
Yeah, we doubled up on the house money.
Play the 49ers.
Yeah. Hey, I did say earlier in the season, it's not a true NFL season without the Packers losing to the 49ers in the playoffs.
Yeah, he said that multiple times.
Yeah. The Packers now have more wins than the Cowboys in AT&T Stadium. That's a fun one because we we beat them twice in the playoffs and then we won the Super Bowl in Dallas. So what do you know? The thing I love about this team, all right, out of all the things, is that everyone keeps being like this young team or whatever, but like they are an extremely well coached team. Like you can tell everybody's playing as a team. Nobody's selfish. Like Jaden Reed they had him mic'd up with Aaron Jones, and he was literally talking to Aaron Jones, and he's like, "I love you, bro. I'll block for you all day." Like they love playing for each other. Like, do you think fucking some cowboy guy goes up to Tony Pollard and he's like, "I love you, man. I'm gonna fight for you out there"? They don't care. They're just like they're like in shambles. Meanwhile, the Packers are like they're all around the same age. They're like playing for each other. Like it's just fun. And you know what the funniest part about all this is for years, Aaron Rodgers has been the guy that's just like, I sit in darkness. I meditate with the world and the mole men and shit. And he'd go out there on Sunday and he'd be screaming at his receivers. He'd be like, "Run the fucking route, you dumb shit." And he's like, "I'm not throwing you the ball." Meanwhile, Jordan Love has been just belittled and bashed and like started the season like, "This guy fucking sucks." Like just everybody's like, "Get rid of him." And now he's got like 21 touchdowns, 1 interception. He goes into Dallas and beats them like he's been playing for 10 years. And he's like, he hasn't yelled at anybody. He hasn't like screamed at the coach. He hasn't yelled at his receivers. He just like goes over there. He's just like, "Cool." And he just sits down. And I'm like, you would think this is the guy that's been like meditating in darkness. Like like his poise is insane. And so I think that's my favorite part about him is he's just so cool. Like even when you watch him in the pocket, it's like CJ Stroud.
So cool.
He's so cool. But like he literally
out
is
with the hottest girls.
I love it. And he's like an easy guy to cheer for because obviously he's going through all the shit of like being after Rodgers and everything that Rodgers went through with Favre. But like, I don't know. I did not expect any of this. This is like literally the most fun I've had since 2010. And it's just fun. No Rodgers drama. No Jimmy Kimmel. No fucking vaccines and shit. We're just having fun, playing football, and it's great.
Just guys being dudes.
Just guys being dudes.
Just guys being dudes.
I will say at the start of the season, I wrote this down. I said, here's a quote, preseason show week 1. I'm getting some glimpses. Jordan Love is reading the defense, hitting the throws. What I expect is Jordan Love to show he's a good quarterback and develop. And if we win 5 games, I'll be happy if he looks great, but I could see us winning either 5 or even 10 games. And look at that.
Yep.
I called it. Although I did give it a broad range of like they could win 1, they could win all of them.
We could win like 0 or we could win like 17 games, man. That's like a...
But I did say Packers could win 5 or 10 games. It all depends on how fast and well Love develops. And guess what? Once week 11 hit, he developed pretty fast. And honestly, part of that is on him, but a lot of that is Matt LaFleur. Like, and Tom Clements, the quarterback coach, because they kept working, and now they've just hit a point where it's like he's good, like he's legit really good.
What I was thinking about was when Jordan Love becomes the Jets QB in 15 years.
Yep.
You're not going to have Tom Clements for the next guy.
That's true.
Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen if they're going to run that game again.
That's when I'm going to start worrying. That's gonna.
Yeah.
And the last part before I get off the Packard podium, I said our wide receivers are the biggest question mark, but it turns out our wide receivers are insane. Like Romeo Doubs, 151 and a touchdown. Dontavian Wicks had a touchdown after having 2 touchdowns last week. Dontavian Wicks is a 5th round rookie. And this dude is like balling out. Fucking Christian Watson had a catch, even though I don't think he was fully healthy. Bo Melton had a catch. He showed up again. Jaden Reed, who was like insane last week, he didn't even do anything this week. Probably because the Cowboys were like, we got to cover that guy. And then they couldn't cover anybody else. Musgrave had a touchdown, which was funny because at the start of the season, he had a touchdown against the Bears. Or he could have had one, but he fell over. And everyone made fun of him for it. And then in the locker room after the game, LaFleur was like, Musgrave stayed on his feet. And they all like cheered. Like you can tell they're just like having fun. And I think
that Musgrave touchdown was embarrassing.
Yeah, it was actually the most open a receiver has been this entire season, according to statistics. Really? Yep, it was 17.3 yards was the closest defender.
There's a screenshot that looks like doctored, like it looks fake. Like that's how open he is. Like it doesn't look real.
Oh yeah. Boy,
it was just absolutely embarrassing for the Cowboys and just phenomenal for the Packers, and so. I don't know where the Packers I know where the Packers go from here. I don't know where the Cowboys go from here.
Because this is Mike McCarthy. Why the fuck is he still coaching? Fire Mike McCarthy.
Like, I mean, I'll tell you what. If he gets fired, he's in that group of strong. But he's gonna be. He's gonna get another job the next day. He will get it the next day.
Somebody said they loved Mike. I think it was Steve Mariucci on one show I was watching. He's like, Mike McCarthy's a great coach, and I'm like, no, he's not. If you watch Mike McCarthy, he's not. He's just bad. Like I don't get it. And so
coaching to me is one of the most misevaluated positions in football by experts. Even like it's insane. Like I don't think people realize how important a head coach can be.
Look at the Lions.
I agree with you guys. I also don't like Mike McCarthy as a coach, and I would not want him as one. However, if you look at his career win percentage, he's one of the best, and he also has a Super Bowl ring, and he
had Aaron Rodgers.
Well, yeah, but then he went to the Cowboys, and he's had 3 straight years of 12 wins.
How about instead of he has 1 Super Bowl ring, it should be how did he not get Aaron Rodgers more Super Bowl rings?
Yeah.
Tom Brady. I said this to my chat the other day. A good coach takes a Hall of Fame top 5 quarterback of all time and turns them into multiple Super Bowls. That's a Bill Belichick right there. Even if Belichick only won 3 Super Bowls, it still would be the same argument.
This is my point here. Is that Bill Belichick is especially the wrong choice because no other coach has won anywhere close to the amount.
That's why I said even if he only won 3, it still is the same argument.
Well, only 3 would put him in a class of I think 5 coaches in all of the 100+ year history of the NFL.
I'm just saying, a good coach takes a top 5 all-time quarterback and takes them to multiple Super Bowls.
Well, I mean, there's also the argument that, not even just Bill Belichick, but what about Don Shula? Don Shula is still considered a legendary coach, Hall of Famer, right? But they never did anything with Marino. They never went to the they never won the Super Bowl with Marino. Marino has 0 rings.
I'm kind of with Rob on this one.
He's one of the greatest QBs of all time.
I agree that McCarthy would get a coaching job immediately after being fired.
He will get, that's the thing. I do agree
I'll
that
at whatever team is dumb enough to fucking do that.
You know what?
I agree with y'all's points about him, but I also agree that he would get hired immediately.
Oh yeah, I think he would, but he shouldn't. And it reminded me of 2 games. This game alone reminded me of 2010 when the Packers lost earlier in the season to the Falcons, and then in the divisional round went into Atlanta and just blew them out. And then that reminded me of the Mike McCarthy game the next year, because I was like, oh yeah, winning in the regular season. And the year after we won the Super Bowl, we went 15-1. And then we got demolished by the wild card Giants in the divisional round. And I was
the
like,
Giants really love that.
That was a Mike McCarthy coach game. That was like I have Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to run go routes and slants, and that's all I know how to do. And I hope Aaron Rodgers hits like Jordy Nelson and Greg Jennings. Like, that's what it was. And that's what he's doing. He's like, we'll run slant CeeDee Lamb. And guess what happened? They get a pick 6 because everyone's like, we know what he's going to do. He doesn't know how to, like, have people get schemed open. He doesn't know how to get people open. While the Packers, you watch LaFleur, he's, like, got motion going on. He's got, like, different packages. He's got so much shit happening. And then they're just like, CeeDee Lamb?
I have my criticisms of Dak Prescott, you know? Like I said he was a bona fide Tony Romo. I think the Cowboys should keep, if they had to pick one, I think you keep Prescott 1,000,000% over keeping McCarthy. I think replacing McCarthy is easy.
I agree.
Replacing Prescott is difficult.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree. I
You can't do much worse than McCarthy.
Yeah.
He just chokes.
He does just choke. I think he needs a better coach. Like, he needs a better system. And I think it would help him a lot.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to, like, blame everything on the coach, except I kind of do. But, like, how are your star players coming out and looking befuddled? Like, how does that, like, I understand that maybe, like, things don't go right and you got to, like, adapt. But, like, your players should not be coming out going, well, what's going on, guys, after, like, 2 plays.
Yeah.
That's bad coaching. That's bad coaching.
I'm actually going to point this out, too, apparently, that Dak Prescott, this might even be his best season. Like, arguably,
I believe
it's his most touchdowns to one of the the least amount of picks in a full season except for 2018.
Yeah. I mean, he was in the MVP conversation for a good part of the season.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
no, it's funny because, like, I agree, but, like, if you look at Mike McCarthy fully on paper, and honestly, like, I'm sure the other thing too is I know that the players generally like him, right? Like, he wasn't even that hated in the locker room of Green Bay when he left, right? So that's probably, I'm sure and considering
can I say something controversial? Well, just off the point you just made.
Yeah.
I don't think players liking you automatically makes you a good coach.
No. It doesn't make you a good coach, but it does get you jobs. That's the thing, right? Is that, like, if you, this is true of, like, almost all the positions in the NFL too, but, like, also it's, like, especially backup QB. Backup QB, they get paid not necessarily because they're, like, super skilled. They get paid because they work well with people. They can sit in a room, they can contribute, and they can, you know, like, those things. Yeah, right, exactly. That kind of
NBA
thing.
teams do that all the time too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to tell you the truth, it is a skill in and of itself, right? Like, being able to do that, being able to keep a team together and stuff, that is its own skill. That's not really, you know, taught to these guys necessarily. It's like they either have it or they don't. You know, like, look at Dan Campbell, for instance, right? Like, he's very high in the charisma bar.
Yeah,
you know,
maxed out.
I would kill someone for that man. I don't know.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Campbell could probably make money by asking people to rob banks for him, and they do it.
Yeah.
I've got his little Twitter video that's going viral right now of all the speeches that he gave a couple years ago that are, like, aging like fine wine as a result of the Lions' success. It's like, God damn, dude, this guy can talk. It's impressive.
Yeah. Well, it's the kind of thing, like, you hear his speech. This is like what I would feel with Rex Ryan back in the day, actually. Like, good coach or not, whatever, right? Like, if you were playing for him, you want to, right? Like, you want to fucking run through a wall for the guy, you know? Because he's like, he's and you want to, like, impress him too. Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
And so I think from what I think of McCarthy, here's my theory. Based on what I've heard for the past couple of years, the Mojo moment and the Carpe Omnia, I feel like he got taught how to. I feel like he read that book, How to smile and lead people or
How
whatever.
to win friends and influence
Right.
people.
Yeah.
I got gifted that on audio CD a week before I got fired from my first job.
Wow. But yeah, like he seems like a business management class type of encouragement type of guy. So
absolutely.
like I bet he's really tight with the ownerships. Like I bet all the owners fucking love him. That would
especially
be my guess.
Jerry Jones.
Yeah, I would think especially I would think so.
Yeah.
But I think he'll get a job immediately. And again, like I don't know. I don't know anything about football, so like maybe I don't know, maybe some other shit's going on, but he does have good win percentage.
Yeah. Also, I want to mention this from the old podcast preseason. Rob said, and I quote, "I want you guys to remember this moment. Mark it down. NFC North will be Vikings, Bears, Packers, Lions." We have done it. We have remembered and marked it down.
I'm glad you marked it, because I wanted you to remember it.
You need to keep taking these notes because they provide a lot
Very
of
good.
return value.
I also heard Apollo say, "You're like 1 year behind the Steelers right now," in reference to the Packers. That was a good one. We also had Apollo say, "The Jaguars are fun." That was not a great take.
They were fun. I think past tense.
I know that's
true.
That's fair.
That is technically correct. I also said the Jaguars could take the next step, and I think they'll do it, but they could Jaguars it up.
Now that could also technically be correct because the next step could very well be into the gutter.
That's true too.
Right.
And then I might as well do my favorite one I heard, which was Rob doing his just unbelievable prediction. Actually, I had the Apollo on the Jets first. Apollo said, "Too many things went right, so the universe will do its inevitable pushback on the Jets season, off season, I guess." Then Rob said, Rob's fireman Ed Demon told him an unceremonious late or early season injury will end the season.
Oh yeah.
So he got it. The Demon was right.
Something I know. I know my Jets, and I know how they like to disappoint me.
Yep, and they sure did.
Yep.
Let's get to the good game.
Now we had the good game, Lions
The
Rams.
only watchable game for a neutral fan. Only NFL fans can enjoy the Cowboys losing, but casual fans don't know why that's good. So
yeah.
We had Lions Rams, and boy, this was a good game up until the end. And then we also had Matt Stafford get just beat up, murdered, concussed.
I need to point out, because there was some weird back and forth going on during the game, because we had another ref masterclass this game. We should point that out.
Yeah.
We had but basically, what happened, and I'm right, everyone else is wrong. So this is the correct narrative.
It's the internet. That's how it works.
No, I mean, because there was people like, the refs fucked the Lions. Oh, the refs fucked the Rams. But here's what happened in my eyes, and you can decide for yourself who got fucked. The Lions, right at halftime, got omega screwed by a literal wrong call, like not a bad call, not a close call, the wrong call. It was
the horse collar one.
Bad. No, the offsides or the neutral zone.
Yeah.
Basically, what happened?
Yeah, that was stupid. Yeah,
a defender jumped into the neutral zone, which then caused the offensive line to jump, which is a neutral zone infraction, 5-yard penalty. Would have resulted in a first down. The ref crew, for some reason, called false start. And what's insane is that everyone saw that it was neutral zone. The fans, the people in the stands, both people, like all the people on the sidelines, commentators, everyone knew the correct call, and yet somehow the wrong call went through. That's insane to me, because when it happened, I said this. There's two possibilities, two realms of reality where this happened. There's only two explanations. One, unlikely, the game was rigged. Don't think it was. I think that's unlikely, but it's just one of the possibilities. And so the other, which is Occam's razor, the only other thing that could have happened, the refs, multiple of them, made shit up in their heads. They saw something that didn't happen. They straight up made up an event in their heads and just forcibly went, that's what happened. Which is, what? That can't happen in a playoff game. Playoffs? Oh, I did it. I guess I wouldn't do it again. It's still so much fun. But like that can't happen. That can't happen. It resulted in the Lions having to punt, and the Lions were completely trashing the Rams defense. That would have ended in at least 3 points, probably 7. And we would have been looking at like a 21-3 game instead of a 14-3 or whatever it was. I can't remember what the score was at the time. But it was to me, it was a 7-point swing. And that's fucking huge in a playoff game. It's disgusting. So what happened after that was the refs started giving makeup calls. And not just one makeup call, but like a couple of makeup calls. And I don't think they were as impactful, but they add up. And so because of recency bias, at the end of the game, people were like, the Rams got screwed. There was like a hit, I think, on Puka Nacua that was pretty bad. Should have been a flag. Like a roughing. I think it mainly was centered on 2 hits, and I don't remember the second one. But there was the Puka Nacua hit, and I think there was a Stafford hit as well that was like late, but I don't remember.
I think the one where he got potentially concussed was kind of a late hit.
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah, the one where the lineman like elbowed or shoulder checked him and then threw him into the ground. Yeah. Those are the 2 plays that the refs did not call. And I think they were just straight up. I think the refs were like, we know, like we fucked up. So we cannot call any more penalties on the Lions because of how badly we fucked up. And so that also is bad. You can't do that either. You can't just start not calling penalties because you fucked up. Like, that doesn't fix the problem. It just makes new problems. Like, it was just a psychotic experience that kind of really, it didn't ruin a nice game, but it definitely made it like it was a ref show. Like, this was the result of this game was significantly impacted by the refs, and we have no idea who would have won if they didn't do their bullshit.
Yeah.
My rant's over, but I hate refs. I hate them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I too hate referees. They are bad and they are dumb.
Yep.
And stupid.
Yeah. And idiots. And I don't like it.
I was gonna say that. Thank you, Rob, for jumping in with that one because
otherwise the game was great. Puka Nacua is a fucking psycho.
Yep.
He's a psycho freak.
Very good.
Oh, sorry, I'm not done ranting yet. NFL also sucks because Matthew Stafford was definitely concussed, and they definitely did not pull him out of the game when they should have.
Yeah.
No, they did that one year where they had the blue medical tent as a big show, and that was the end of their caring about that kind of
Puka
thing.
Nacua was also probably concussed. Less likely, but like good chance he also got a concussion.
Yeah.
Performative player safety.
But when it's the playoff time, they're just like, I mean, you can skip a 1 and 2.
You can like see. Okay, you're good.
Yep.
Good enough.
This is what I'm saying. Full armor, full body armor.
I don't think that would help concussions, Rob.
I no, you know what? Like I like as an aside, I know that I make this point as a joke, but like the truth is though, like I think that the stuff that they wear is insufficient, right? And this is a problem, right? It's such a problem that the players, the coaches, the administration, the owners, in a playoff game, in a meaningful game, they'll all want to play through a bad injury that they shouldn't. That's going to hurt them. That's going to harm them badly. Yeah. And you know what that does is that harms the NFL's profits. That's why they don't take them out of the game. That's why these players play through these injuries, right? And on the players' side, they're trying to get a game check. So because that's how the payment structure is set up, right?
Yeah.
So it really, all of these different factors are conspiring to make this a thing. And if the NFL is not willing to change those aspects of it, like the inconsistent pay structure for the players and all that other stuff, then they should protect their investment, to talk about it in a cold business way here, in these players, because they're the ones that are fucking filling the seats. And if these, like, especially as they keep adding on more games, they have 17 now, right? And fucking, you saw how many players. I feel like this year was worse for injury than it was many in general years. Maybe this is, I'm seeing things that aren't there because I don't have the stats in front of me.
Truck one.
Yeah, look it up. Yeah, but like, it's a problem. It's a major issue, and like the thing is too, viewers at home, they don't want to watch these players get injured.
Yeah,
they don't want to see that. You don't want to see brutal injuries. You don't want to see what happened to like Damar Hamlin. Right? That's bad for the NFL.
The total amount of injuries seems to have generally stayed the same over the last decade or so. It's usually a little over or under 200 total throughout the year, which is a ton. But
yeah, I mean, I would say
that's like
20% of the NFL almost.
If you go back to like even
this
the
is
90s.
just concussions. Never mind. Holy shit.
Oh my god. Yeah.
It's
Holy
only
shit.
To be fair,
Alright,
I think
that's-
if you go back to the 90s, there's plenty of teams that just wouldn't report shit anyway, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like there's
Yeah.
gonna be like, he's fine. He looks like he's dead, but he's not.
Concussion used to not be an injury in the NFL until like the late 90s. Until then, it was just bell rung.
Holy
Yeah.
shit,
His-
it's so much worse. There were 2,113 total injuries in the 2020 NFL
Wow.
season.
So more
That's
than there are
insane.
players, right? Like
There
there's
were 3 injuries per game.
that's
Yeah,
absurd.
but I do still think part of that is due to just better reporting now, like knowing when a guy's injured compared to like even look at the 80s. There's like, oh, that guy got smashed into the ground. They're like, hey, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like
They
that's
would
not an
try to
injury.
just kill people back then.
Yeah. Like
Yeah, I mean, like that's partially the case, but either way, the players are still going out, right? And that's
yeah.
harmful to like like I'm trying to make the case. If any NFL owners are watching, here's the business perspective. You're
Yeah.
hurting, you're destroying your brand by letting these players get fucked up like this. You know, like you gotta what you gotta do is take some of that absurd cash that you have and spend a shitload of it coming up with better protection for the players.
I mean,
so
Rob,
don't
they
get
won't even
injured as
put
much.
grass in. Do you think they're
Right?
gonna
That's what I
do that?
mean. That's what I'm saying. Like this is it's asinine to me that a guy like Woody Johnson, right? Who the reason that he doesn't give a shit and the reason that he puts fucking rubber pellet fields in there is because this isn't his only hustle, right? Like this is just a side gig for him having the New York Jets, right? Like he does a bunch of other shit, so he doesn't care. It's just just stupid. How do they not invest in their own product?
52% of NFL players have a lower limb injury.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
That's crazy.
that's
Well,
absurd. I
plus
mean,
they're-
and they wear like no protection on their legs, like none, and they're constantly getting hit there.
Yeah, I would also say it's just the nature of the sport at times. Like you're gonna
Yeah.
have injuries from contact sport.
It is, but like you can still like the reason that they wear the pads and the helmet in the first place is because it prevents a certain amount of injuries that they would have otherwise, right? Like
Right, it's absorbing
NFL
force.
Yeah, exactly. Like football back in the day, football almost ended as a sport because it started like as a collegiate sport and people were dying too much. So, I'm just saying like get a little bit more protection. Okay, you got the pads, you got the helmet, that's good. Maybe you wear like a little bit of foam on your thighs. That's nice. But like maybe some more,
I'm sure we'll get more as we get medical, or not even medical, but just like technology advancements and stuff.
See, I don't know because the NFL, the big concern with them is the image, right? Like that's even the reason that they wear the open face masks, right? Like a full helmet would be safer for them, but they wear the open face masks because then you can't see their face, right? Like you can't have a closed helmet and then see all of these players who you're trying to sell the brand image of, right? That's why you have all that shit.
Right.
So like that's part of the reason that they don't want to put them in like big, or it's any kind of like more gear because it'll fuck up how it particularly looks.
Well, they in the preseason they wear those big goofy like concussion help things. They just
Right.
look like they're going to space or some shit. It's like
Yeah.
everyone does it then, and then they're like, all right, not anymore.
Right. Yeah.
But
To get back to the Lions Rams though,
Mhm.
I love that this narrative happened. Speaking of the script writers
Oh,
for the
yeah.
NFL,
Yeah.
like the fact that this was Goff versus Stafford, Lions versus
Yeah.
Rams, like so quickly after the trade happened, like it's great. And then this was like the perfect result for that too, for it to be a fucking battle where both of them did pretty good. But ultimately, Goff triumphs, and Stafford had his time in the sun, so it's cool now that Goff also gets to
Yeah.
have his shot.
yeah,
It's good timeline ending.
It
Yeah.
is kind of insane that it's potentially possible that both quarterbacks from that trade would win a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
That would be one of the most successful trades of all time.
Damn,
I still
fucking
already
Campbell,
consider it,
dude.
right? Like this is like the best, win-win trade that I've ever seen in my lifetime. I
Yeah,
think.
for sure.
I linked it before we started, but it said that this year the NFC will literally have a quarterback that is either Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, or Jordan Love. That will be the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That will be That's actually insane.
And one of these things is a lot less fun than the other, but is still noteworthy, I guess.
It's gonna be Jordan Love, folks. All right. God, we're gonna get them all. However, dude, Sunday it's supposed to be raining. We're gonna get a rain game with the Packers 49, which I think is actually worse for us because then McCaffrey's just gonna run through our team.
Right.
So
CMC going for 300 yards.
That's bad. That's
yeah. Although Aaron Jones, but I still there. Yeah.
You guys are so fucked, dude. I keep forgetting about how good the 49ers are.
Yeah, the 49ers.
Yeah,
they've been resting for like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah, it's not great. So, congratulations, Lions. You've won a playoff game.
It was a fun game.
Yep.
Besides all the
more.
draft bullshit,
Yeah.
but it was still a
First
fun
time
game.
in 30 years.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, and you know what? It's not even like it's over. Like the Lions, they might go the whole way.
Yeah. I mean, my ideal NFC championship is Packers Lions because if the Packers lose, then I'd be like, I still want the Lions to win. Kind of like.
And you know what? If the Lions win, then this is like totally their Rocky story, right? Like them beating
they
Goff,
are the protagonist
then
at
them
that point.
them beating the Packers to go. Yeah.
I love that either the Bucks or the Lions is going to be in the NFC Championship. That makes me happy.
That is true.
I
Yeah.
won't enjoy a Bucks Niners championship game. I'm gonna be honest. So I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like
unless
the Bucks. I
win.
just that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because like
Probably the least
I look at a
ideal.
team like the Packers, and I'm like, the Packers could do it because they have like this kind of they're hot right now. Whereas I look at the Bucks, and I'm like, they beat the Panthers 9-0.
They beat the Eagles, who
They beat the Eagles pretty impressive, though. We'll get
We'll get there. First, we have Steelers Bills.
Oh yeah.
Yay!
Woo.
Let me show you guys the standard.
It got pretty close at a point.
It didn't though.
kinda did.
Like, it never did. Like, because it's our defense again, man. Like it's everyone always is like, oh, that Steelers offense, they got a backup court. It's always our defense, man. We always fucking biff it on defense, and like when it matters most. Like, and I get we didn't have TJ Watt, but like, if your defense does not function without one player, that's a bad defense.
Yeah.
That's a terrible defense.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way it's been. We're 1-11 without TJ Watt. When he doesn't play, 1-11. What the fuck was that one?
bad.
I gotta know.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
seriously.
Like, what happened? We must have gotten lucky as hell in that game.
It's
But
not like the
sometimes-
Bengals or something. I don't know.
Sometimes these games do honestly feel like they come down to the turnover differential.
Mhm.
And 3-0 in this one was a pretty huge difference maker.
And
That's
one of
the
those
thing is
was the end zone interception.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so tough because like I don't know, like I feel like this is just the result of every Steelers season lately, where it's like we come into the playoffs and I don't know, like Krendor, I feel like he's like, well, like we could win, but I don't feel that way about the Steelers. I don't look at this team and go, hey, we've got like this team doesn't feel like that team that's gonna surprise you.
You
Like,
can't
you
draw
get
a roadmap to success with these guys.
You get exactly what you expect with this team. Like, and it's every year. I linked a stat to you guys, I think, after the game. I'm going to link it again because it really shows how ridiculous this is. And I'll read it out loud for those of you who do not see this stat. But just
Which is everyone.
look at that stat. Give me your reactions to that statistic before I say what it is. Because it's insane.
Oh yeah. Right,
Pittsburgh Steelers in their last
Holy
5
fuck.
playoff games, in the last 5 playoff games, have been outscored 66-0 in the first quarter. 66-0.
And the
Pretty
follow-up
nice.
tweet is the point that should be made about that. It says coaching first quarter is all about scripted plays and coming into the game prepared, which we talk about a lot. The fact that the first drive is like the one that they've got like a complete script.
Sometimes they do first 2 drives even.
Yeah. And it's upsetting. It's upsetting to see the team always come in completely with their pants down. Like
Yeah.
Tomlin's gonna be back. We went over that already, and I know everyone gives me constant shit for saying Tomlin should go, but like, I'm so sick of. I want to watch a playoff game where I can actually root for my team and have even the minorest of expectations. Like, at least in the past, when the Steelers, like, I could go in and I could go, this team can exist, and hey, we might lose, but I can watch this game and expect my team to do something. Like, just look like a football team, for fuck's sake. Not come in and immediately go down like 21-0. Like, it's ridiculous.
I have a question. What do you think the odds are that the Steelers will go QB this year?
I don't think anyone can predict what's going to happen with the QB situation in Pittsburgh next year. It is so up in the air.
Yeah.
I don't know, because Pickett didn't get enough time. Like, there are some people who are like, oh, Pickett's dog shit. And they could be right. I think they're actually favored to be right. I don't think you can say it for certain, because Matt Canada is still Matt Canada. But Pickett came in and had a decent game without Matt Canada, and then was looking good in the game before he got injured. So, like, there was like a little bit of a sign of, like, maybe he can be good, but we just didn't learn. And that's what I said that when it happened. I was like, this is a worst case scenario, because we're not going to get to know if Pickett's good or not. And so we're going to have to give him another chance next year, and he might be shit. So, like, that's bad, because that's a lot of wasted time when we could be looking for our next quarterback. So I don't know. I have no idea. It's not going to be Rudolph. Rudolph is fine, but he's a backup quarterback. He's always been a backup quarterback.
He's like a Gardner Minshew type of guy.
Yeah. Like, I actually, like, it's so annoying that Trubisky got starts over him, because at least we knew Rudolph could play backup. Trubisky was just horrible.
Yeah. So, because the reason that I ask is because, look, as a Jets fan, I have had very, very bad years.
Yep.
And Tomlin regularly gets into the playoffs, regularly drags a team kicking and screaming there. I think in this case, in this year, I don't think a lot of people were expecting them to win this game, but also they probably like if this were the Jets, right? Like, it kind of was similarly, right? Like with your QB situation, the Jets end up shitty again, and the Steelers went to the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing, though. Football is unfortunately a one-team takes all sport.
Yeah.
And 31 teams are sad and one team is happy at the end of the season. Yes, your team is so much worse than my team.
Yeah.
But since Super Bowl 43, our teams have had the same results at the end of the year, regardless of records or anything else. We both got 0 Super Bowls, and that's unfortunately all anyone cares about.
Yep.
So I just want to feel like we have a chance. I am looking at this next season. If Tomlin comes back, if we have to trial run Pickett again, it's just not going to be a season I can be excited for.
See, that's why I asked about the QB thing, because I think the QB situation is what's really holding back your team. I think if Tomlin was working with something
you say
better,
that, but let's back in time to when we had one of the most prolific offenses that we've had.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
And guess what happened? We got fucking creamed by Blake Bortles.
Bortles. But even though the Steelers
were go forward one year, Rob, and we get fucking creamed by Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns.
Look, and also there was that Tebow time. That was bad too.
That was a great team.
That was really bad.
That's maybe the most embarrassing one.
Yeah, that one. But counterpoint to that, during that time,
your argument.
Counterpoint to that is that, like, okay, yes, those Steelers teams were all really good, but at the the star players, it wasn't like you're talking about, Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison or something,
it was a
right?
Hall of Fame quarterback, and what would have been a Hall of Fame receiver if he didn't go psycho, and what would have been a Hall of Fame running back if he didn't get lazy.
That's my point, though. See, because you even said a Hall of Fame QB because his name is Ben Roethlisberger, and he's a giant piece of shit, and he was a weirdo on and off the field. And
but he
and then you had
Super Bowl wins.
Yes, that's true. I mean, but what I'm saying is that like even the good times were with extremely chaotic people compared to like more stable situations.
Yeah, like stable Aaron Rodgers.
Well, he was an unstable situation, and that's he only got one ring. That's why I said Peyton Manning. Tom Brady, no drama, no fucking. Well,
I mean, I will say there are plenty of times that you just need luck. Like the Packers would have gotten back to the Super Bowl if that guy just didn't get in the way of catching an onside kick. Like that wasn't even Rodgers' fault. Like you have shit like that happen all the time, and then people be like, the quarterback didn't do it. It's like, yeah, well, if he had a special teams unit, he probably would go back.
But that's not what our playoffs were. Our playoffs were our defense getting fucking spanked by average to below average quarterbacks to terrible to Tim Tebow terrible quarterbacks.
I think people hear the Steelers and they just think good defense, right?
And that's the issue. And I have been fucking just screaming about this. Like our defense, people just assume it's good. For the past like 5 years, people have been like, well, it hasn't been that good since Dick LeBeau left, and that was ages ago. Like we have one of the best defensive players of all time on our team right now. He is that good, and yet our defense looks like shit. He is the only one that does anything. Like Tomlin is a defensive coach. If you have a defensively minded coach and your defense isn't good, that's a huge problem. Yeah. And our defense isn't good. At least this year, there's some injury woes. Like we didn't have TJ in this game. Our linebacker core is still eviscerated. Like we got our safeties back this game, but I don't know, man. Here's the thing. To try to, I guess, bring this on a slightly positive spin for next year. Like Tomlin's coming back. We better fire our defensive coordinator because we just didn't do a good job. Even when we had all our healthy players, our defense did not look good. Like we need a new defensive coordinator, and we're gonna get a new offensive coordinator. These need to be whoever's whether it's Tomlin or upper management, whoever has been hiring these coordinators needs to not hire these coordinators. It needs to be someone else. So if these are Tomlin's picks, like that is his biggest weakness. He has not had a stable, good coordinator since Cowher's coordinators left. All right, since Arians and LeBeau, we have not had a good coordinator. That's irrefutable. Tomlin lovers cannot argue against that because that's just true. We've not had good coordinators since those two. So something else needs to happen in that department, or we're going to be right back where we were before with this 9-win fucking team.
Yeah, it's football purgatory.
It is. It's genuinely horrible because you get the same effect of losing all the time, but you get people telling you how good you have it, and you think you're going fucking crazy.
It's just I appreciate that. I just I'm a Jets fan. So
you're not the only one. Every time I say it in chat, I get, well, how do you think it feels to be a Bears fan? Probably also bad, probably worse. But
your sorrow does not invalidate mine.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. No, it's the thing is like, I was saying this before. I'll say it again. I do think that sometimes you could have an Andy Reid situation, a Marvin Lewis situation, where it's like you have a good coach, but like it's not going to happen here.
Well, and we also have the added on issue of like, yes, winning's cool and all, but we can never get a good draft pick to get a good quarterback. Like, how are we going to get a good quarterback?
You just draft one, dude. It's really easy. You just draft your quarterback, and then he just wins playoff games.
Yeah.
Let's say Kenny Pickett is bad. I don't know where we're picking now. Probably like 16th, 20th. Okay,
20,
that's not as bad as I thought. So that's decent enough. But like, it's not great. That's lower half, and if there's a good quarterback that's high rated, we're not getting them. We're not getting them. So we have to do the Pickett thing again, where we're like, well, we have to pick a quarterback that no one else really wants, and hope that he's like Mahomes.
Yeah,
or hope you get a Brock Purdy
or a Lamar Jackson, or just some late first round pick, and hope that it's a steal.
Would you accept signing Russell Wilson?
No.
Well, I mean, he's pretty good.
Again,
he's better than any QB on your roster.
I don't think our problem is just QB. It's coordinator. Even if you don't think Tomlin's bad, coordinator is still an issue. So I don't think bringing in a QB is going to just magically fix everything. So I don't think that Wilson is an answer. Or like, I'd rather have Justin Fields than Wilson, even like because at least Justin Fields has, like, to me, a lot of upside. And
Right.
if everyone thinks Tomlin's a great coach, then Fields would be perfect for that then.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. Here, I look at the future as I sign off on my final Steelers game of the year, and I go, I don't know. I don't know where this team's going. I don't like that I can't look forward to next year, and I'm going to be scared and confused, and I don't know. But you know, at least if everything is the same, I'll at least maybe get a playoff game out of it.
There you go. The Mike Tomlin way.
Yeah, funny. I remember at the beginning of the show, Apollo was like, "I'm glad this one's going to be a short one today because this is like your third long-winded emotional rant of the episode."
I was more passionate about the ref thing, honestly. That's just I was hot for like all of halftime. That when I watching that game, I was fucking screaming at my chat who were just like looking on, like, is he mad? Like, is it gonna be okay? I was so mad at that.
On the other side, the Bills, Josh Allen threw for 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He ran for 1, and now this is it.
Can you motherfuckers like beat us and then actually do something, please? Like, Bills fans, I like the Bills. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't even mention that dirty ass hit you guys laid on Joey Porter. All right, that was bullshit. I like your team anyway. Still, go fucking beat the Chiefs at least. Can you do me that favor?
This is their like 5-headed dragon. Like they've been here numerous times. Now you've got everything aligned. You get to play at home. You're looking all right. The Chiefs are probably the worst version of the Chiefs.
Yeah, and I still have zero faith in them. Like I'm picking the fucking Chiefs to win.
You're
right
now.
I'm
You're on my
Bills,
side.
I hope.
The universe hates fun. It wants to give you the least fun outcome.
Well, I mean, on the other hand, it would be again, like I was arguing during the game that the Steelers had a chance because the AFC East really likes disappointing all the teams in it. And I think a special way the universe could fuck the Bills this year is let them go to the Super Bowl and have them lose again.
Oh, they've done that.
That would be, at least they'd be more used to that.
Yeah, like that would. So I mean, I could see them. I could see them going all the way on that timeline.
This is actually Patrick Mahomes' first road playoff game.
Yeah,
that's annoying.
That's insane.
Yeah, and it's gonna be cold too, right?
Oh,
well, I mean, he already played in the cold.
Well, yeah, he played in the cold already, but now it's gonna be loud and cold.
Yeah.
So then we had Eagles Buccaneers, and you know, I think I tricked myself because I was like, there's no way the Eagles are this bad. And it turns out there was.
Yeah, I really didn't think they were this bad.
Yeah.
They are this bad.
They had lost 6 of their last 7. So we should have seen it coming.
Yeah.
But it was just like, I felt like they were going to flip the switch. Like, all right, here we go, guys. Playoff time. Now we get it together.
The Bucks were not good, too.
Yeah.
This is a team coming off a 9-0 victory to the Panthers.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna reiterate that.
Coached by Todd Bowles. Yeah, but I think it's the Baker magic.
I agree completely. I think Baker Mayfield is the difference maker. Like this dude is legit.
I wanted him coming out of college.
Imagine having him on your team and trading him away.
I have not chosen the Cleveland Browns for mostly this reason. It is like just sheer fury that they let this dude go.
Yeah.
I agree.
This game, Jalen Hurts just looked bad. To be fair, he did have his like dislocated finger or whatever it is.
Yeah.
AJ Brown didn't play in this game. They had numerous. Like I think they were just a combination of beat up, poor coaching, and just demotivated. I mean, they had Matt Patricia on their defense. Like, why? Why is Matt Patricia still here? He's not good.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you. I wanted to go look at, because I was like, didn't the Lions play the Bucks? The Lions did play the Bucks, and they did win 20-6. But that's not what I want to talk about. You know how every sports subreddit has a little thing on the side that shows all their games?
Oh, yep.
With like who they played. Week 17, Lions at Zebras with a little zebra emoji.
That's pretty good.
I liked that. That's good on you, Lions. I liked that.
Yeah, that's solid.
Also, I'm glad they won that game because then we would have had to play Detroit wild card. So thank God we got to play the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts did not look great. He also like ran backwards for a safety. This was just like
that
terrible.
and they just got out of the end zone too, like the play before.
It was,
and that was like the game was still close at that point.
Yeah. The Buccaneers stopped the tush push. It was they got dominated on every front, and it was just bad. And now the Eagles, I feel like, are another one where they could fire their coach. Like Sirianni doesn't seem like he's that good now.
That seems to be the attitude in Philly right now. Is that Sirianni's
next year's going to be insane. Like we're going to have so many coach moves, and it's going to be wild.
That'd be. Can I point out that it would? And now I do fully believe that it could happen, especially considering the Bill Belichick thing. But like from the perspective of Nick Sirianni, he comes in 1 year, they go to the Super Bowl, then the next year they start 10-1, get to the playoffs and go 1 and done. And then he's out. You know, like that's fucking wild. If
that is, as much as I love to shit on head coaches, that to me is a very fast turnaround. Like,
I wouldn't fire him, but I don't trust his judgment of bringing in Matt Patricia, which is why I would fire. Because I'm like, what are you doing? That's what I don't trust. But
they were like so good last year. I don't get it.
They started this year 10-1. Like.
But they look shaky in a lot of their wins. Like that's the difference. I think last year they looked dominant,
but
they did
I mean, I don't know.
Look dominant this year.
I think if we go back to our podcast, we were still like, even though we weren't like going, wow, the Eagles are the most amazing team I've ever seen, but we were like, yeah, the Eagles are very good, at 10-1. So I mean, I don't know, like it is like a historic collapse here for the Eagles. I feel like.
Yeah,
and I think it's largely to do with the magic of the NFC East.
I mean, honestly, their season collapsed once they lost to the Jets. That was the true curse that struck them down.
I remember picking that game, man. I'm never gonna forget that.
This was.
I did this.
Also, looking at Jalen Hurts' numbers, he did not do very well in the turnover department. So his first year, he threw 16 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. First year starting. Then 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions last year. And now this year, 23 touchdowns, 15 interceptions.
Yeah, and he also has check his fumbles too, because he has. We looked at it last week, but it's high as well.
Where's fumbles here? Fumbles.
Sorry, I'm doing
9. I think it's 9 fumbles.
9, yeah.
Is that right? It looks like
9. Yeah. He's had 9. He's had 9 every season that he's played. Actually.
Wow. Yeah, that is.
Oh, thank God. Oh, that's gonna suck.
What?
Sorry, I was trying to see who had the Chiefs-Bills game next week. Something tripped me, and I wanted to make sure it wasn't Collinsworth, but it is going to be Romo, and that's just as bad.
Well, he loves both quarterbacks, so he's gonna be having a great.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. He's
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt that. I just that scared me, and I wanted to make sure we didn't have to listen to Collinsworth talk about Allen and Mahomes.
Yeah.
But you're.
Yeah.
Your points that they lost their OC last season, right? Like from last season, they have a new guy this year, right?
I believe so. Yes, Eagles.
Yeah. So and you see that direct result in Jalen Hurts' stats, where he basically doubled his amount of turnovers, right, this year.
Yeah.
So
coaching.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no. It says 2000. He was the current coordinator. Or offensive coordinator, I believe, was their quarterback's coach. And the previous one was who was it? Oh, it was
he's a head coach now, I think.
The current or the former Eagles guy went to the former Eagles offensive coordinator went to the Colts.
Right. Yes, he's the Colts head coach. Right. Yeah.
Shane Steichen or Steichen.
Right.
So yeah, they lost him, and that clearly made a difference.
almost tripled his interceptions.
And here's this is the other argument for the offensive head coach is you look at LaFleur.
Yep.
Like LaFleur is just doing his own thing. He doesn't have to worry about losing his OC to a head coaching job because he's he is the head coach. So you're like, oh, cool. And then he just hires some defensive guy, which But you know what? Hey, to be fair to Joe Barry, he's actually done okay the last couple weeks. So I'll give it to him. But
I mean, my point with that whenever I talk about that is that, I mean, granted I'm biased because I've had only defensive coaches, except for Adam fucking Gase, doesn't count. But but yeah, no, that's exactly the thing. And right now in the current NFL, I think you would rather have the offense be solid and the defense be okay to shitty, than the other way around.
100%. Like, I mean, you look at, I think, most teams left in the playoffs and they have offensive head coaches. Andy Reid, like LaFleur, Shanahan. I guess Detroit's kind of, I don't know what they
Dan Campbell. It's a little
Campbell.
early to make the declaration there. I think
Buffalo. I guess Harbaugh.
Buffalo does have Sean McDermott. He is a defensive head coach.
Oh, is he? Oh yeah, I guess you're right.
he was a DC for I don't remember who, but yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I still think you're right. I think offensive minded head coaching is just better. It just makes more sense.
There's a DC for the Panthers, by the way.
Okay, and also Dan Campbell was a tight ends coach for the Saints from 2016 to 2020. Then he was assistant coach for the Dolphins. Oh, and also served as the assistant coach for the Dolphins from 2010 to 2015.
Oh yeah.
So he actually was never even an OC. He was just an assistant coach and then a tight ends coach and then a head coach.
Yeah. He's a wild card.
Yeah.
He's just a wild card guy. Speaking of coaching, did you see the Jimmy Johnson halftime speech?
No.
Dude, it was the cringiest. So like before the game, obviously he was just like, we'll see how the Cowboys are doing in a couple weeks going into that championship game. Halftime, He looked like he was gonna cry. Like legit looked like he was gonna cry. He was like, I would go into that locker room, I'd say, get your act together. We're going to go out there. We're going to stop them. We're going to start putting the offense together. And I was like, why are they letting this guy talk right now? It was embarrassing. I was like, dude, what? It was, if you go watch, I wouldn't even watch it. It's secondhand embarrassment. And it didn't work, by the way. It turns out they weren't listening to him on the locker room TV. Anyway, the Eagles suck, the Cowboys suck, and here we are.
Bucks.
Go Bucks.
Go Packers.
Lions.
I like how we all want NFC teams except the 49ers.
Basically. Go not 49ers.
I still like the 49ers, to be honest.
Yeah, I just don't want them to win because it'd be boring.
Yeah.
So we got power rankings.
Power rankings.
Top 5, starting with Rob.
Let us go with the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. I like that guess. All right. In that spirit, let's go with the Houston Texans. Fuck.
How many teams are
There's 8, but I was just going with your route.
We've already eliminated
49ers.
Yeah, there you go.
That's no fun. All right, fine.
Yep.
Rob, you're up.
Chiefs.
Yep.
Ravens.
Yep.
Bills.
Yep.
Oh,
you got it.
Fuck.
This is the fun one.
Who is the
50-50.
The Lions.
Yep, you got it.
Yes, sir.
There it is. All right. The 6th spot rising thinnest dink.
6 spots. Oh my goodness.
Packers.
It's the Packers. There it is.
All right.
Yep. And now we got some fat doinks.
Ooh, the Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Yep,
Cowboys.
falling 5 spots. And another team. Also, it's the Browns.
The Browns.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yay.
Who would have thought? All right. Let's run it back. True or false? There's an eliminated team ranked higher than a non-eliminated team in this week's rankings.
Oh, true for sure.
That's hilarious. I mean, I'll say true because I think it'd be funny.
It
I was gonna say false.
is
It's the oh no, I'll do you one better. It's true, and it's the fucking Cowboys still.
You got it. It's
Yes,
true.
I
It's the Cowboys who are ranked ahead of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That's
for
so
fuck's sake.
fucking.
Even when they're eliminated, the NFL power rankings have
Now-
to put the Cowboys.
You know,
in
we
the
were talking
higher
about this
spot.
in the sound check that we apologize, and we do generally about how much we shit on the Cowboys if there are any Cowboys fans out there. But do you see? Do you see?
You know what you're getting into becoming a Cowboys fan too, and if you don't, you're about to fucking find
Now,
out.
Ed's Buccaneer write-up begins with, "Before you bite my head off,
Oh, Ed. I will.
please spare my head." And later elaborates with, "If the Cowboys and Bucks magically played, I think they'd set the line at Dallas minus 4.5.
Nah, I'm sorry, but that head's got to go.
Yeah,
we're
we're
biting
taking
that
that
head.
one
I'm
off.
biting
I'm
kneecaps
wheeling
on
out the
that.
guillotine, my
Sharpening
friend.
the teeth right now.
Which of the 8 remaining teams spent the fewest weeks in the top 10 during the regular season power rankings?
The Texans.
The
Yeah.
Bucks.
Got to be the Texans.
It is
The Packers, right?
Packers,
Yeah.
who only reached the
Fuck.
top 10 once. Buccaneers
Wow.
were second lowest for 2 weeks in the top 10.
Yeah. I'm surprised they were even in the top 10.
I agree.
Yeah.
Of the 6 teams eliminated this week, which one had the best average rank through the entire regular season?
The Cowboys.
Oh,
The
Eagles.
Niners.
Oh, the Eagles.
It is
yeah.
the Eagles, who
Yeah.
are at
In
3.5.
In my head, I was like, it's got to be the Cat. Wait, that's
Yeah,
too
yeah.
easy of an answer.
Yep. Followed by the Dolphins, the Cowboys, the Browns, Steelers, and then Rams finally.
And the Eagles are gone.
And
the
they're
Dolphins
gone.
are gone. And the
And the
Cowboys are gone.
Cowboys.
And the Browns are
Yeah.
gone. And the Steelers are gone.
I mean, listen, we all knew the Packers were better than those trash franchise teams in the playoffs, of course. And that's the NFL.com Bible Internet Bible Power Rankings. And now it's time for Pick'em Stats.
That guy, he sits in a closet the entire show, and then we open it up just for that bit, and then we shut it down.
Yep. Yeah.
Just wearing a burlap sack with a long beard.
Got a piece of duct tape over his mouth the entire time until
No,
after
wait,
that.
can I have some food?
This week's Pick'em Stats. The Discord and
Are powered
Randy.
by Audi.
That's right.
They are not. They the
Powered by
Discord.
DraftKings.
They are definitely not. Discord and Randy went 6-1.
Oh,
Randy's only failed pick was the Cowboys, as was Discord. I
Randy
went.
and I shared picks, although I was foolish enough to lock the boys.
Yep.
as was I.
Yep. I went.
I was
5
gonna
and 2
lock
along
something
with Bear.
else, wasn't I?
You were
was
gonna
locking
lock
some-
something else.
Who was I
Yeah.
gonna lock?
I think you were gonna lock the Bucks. Actually, you were talking about something like that. Like
You're
it was near
definitely
the
gonna lock
end.
Something else.
Oh.
Maybe even the Lions. Yeah, whatever it was, it
You
was
guys
gonna
all
be
gonna
better.
lock the Bills with me.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh God, why did I lock the like picking the Cowboys? Maybe, but the lock. What am I thinking?
Yeah, what are
I
you
don't
doing?
know why I did that. Yeah.
To be fair, my Packer lock was kind of just a meme lock that just turned out to work out well. But I went 5-2. Bear went 5-2. Rob went 4-3, and Apollo last place at 3-4.
Ooh,
And
how the
Tattooist.
mighty have fallen.
I pick on purpose. All right, these are designed picks
Yep.
so that if I
How about
lose
my
regular
balls
season's
to your
accidental.
fist style?
And Tattooist,
bleeding,
the
making
AC.
me
Hey,
What
win
I-
a regular season and come talk to me, okay?
I will then. I'll come right to your front fucking door, sir.
Wow. Tattooist went 4-3 for the ACs.
Mm-hmm.
Is this your card? Discord maintains the best career record predicting wild card games, 23-5. Randy 13-7. Krendor, 24-14. Rob
Yeah,
24-14. Exactly the same. Bear 23-14.
Yeah, holy cow.
Apollo
Let's go.
13-8. And Sinvicta 17-14.
That's a very weirdly similar record.
It
Yeah.
is. Passing the buck, Krendor has yet to correctly predict a Buccaneer playoff game on the
That's
podcast.
very funny.
0-8 on picks and 0-3 on locks over 6 years.
That's crazy.
That is something.
That's hilarious.
South for the winner. Both Bear and Rob have never picked against the winner of the NFC South in a wild card game, and they are 3-2 in those 5 games.
Huh.
Oh,
interesting.
Yo ho.
Off
Yeah.
the dome,
And a bottle of
Apollo moves to 1-5, predicting wild card games taking place in a dome. In wild card games outside a dome, 9-3.
The fact that he has these stats is
It's insane.
fantastic to me.
The art is
Yeah.
good on that one.
Yeah,
as
also
That
well.
is
very
good
true.
too, yeah.
Is that original? Did he use like an emote or is that original?
Yeah,
art?
it's an emote,
right?
Oh, okay, nice.
If he's gonna
yeah.
start using emotes, he's gonna have a lot of.
He's got a lot of resources.
a lot of
dude, yeah.
resources now.
On the flip side, this week Randy changed his strategy and picked all the high-seeded teams. Prior to this week, he only picked the higher seed in 25% of wildcard games, and he's 9-1 when picking the higher seed, the only loss being the Cowboys. Look at that. Randy just bolstering himself for the future.
I think Randy is the one who destroyed the Cowboys. Look at his record. Look at what happened. I think
That's true.
I think Randy's magic came in.
Yep, I think you're right.
Magics collided, and we found out which was stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And those are your pick'em bonus stats.
Thank you, Pixel.
Thank you to Pixel Haven.
It's time to pick 'em.
It's time to pick them.
And we have an assistant coach.
Is he throat singing?
Yeah.
No,
There's-
turned into a
there's
didgeridoo.
Mongolian throat singing. We decided to invest in Mongolian throat singers for the podcast. We thought that was the best idea.
Oh, man.
Use of our Patreon money.
I think you got your Super
You can
Bowl
let us
intro
know
song.
how you feel about that. We were thinking about getting some didgeridoos as well.
Yeah,
and
that'd be
maybe
good.
Some like slide whistles, but
Wait,
it's not
do
right
a
quite
little
the
more
budget.
because Today we're going to be showing you how to unclog the toilet. So first we're going to grab the plunger here. What is this? So just a tutorial video with Mongolian throat singing as a soundtrack.
that was
sounded
the
bit.
really funny to me. Yeah, that was the bit.
Okay.
That was the
That was the whole
Pretty
bit.
funny. It was a good
I
bit.
liked it. I was just shocked because it was just so I was
Yeah.
not expecting it.
I was not
Yeah,
either.
no, it just kind of comes together.
Folks, Texans, Ravens, Saturday.
But we also have an assistant coach.
We also have an
Uh,
assistant coach. It is Dermot the Freg.
This is the second Kermit-based assistant coach we've
Yeah.
had this year.
Is it not the third? I feel like it's
It
the
might
third.
be.
It might be the third.
Are we gonna only have Kermits next
I
year?
hope
Is
so.
it
Yeah,
gonna be
that
all
would be great. There's
Kermit?
That
different
would be pretty
variations of
Yeah,
Kermit.
different
Yes,
kinds
please.
of Kermit.
So Texans, Ravens.
You know what? I'm going to go for lock curse again. I feel like it's the only
yeah.
way.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm not
Okay.
gonna lock. I'm not gonna double lock. I'm not gonna triple lock.
Oh,
I'm
boy.
gonna infinilock
Oh,
the Ravens.
my.
Okay,
You're
you know
giving
what,
up
Pixel?
all of
I
your
feel
future
like-
points?
I feel like you could do a lot with it. Like, give me like some some cosmic horror around like the lock symbol. Like, go crazy. You don't have to do anything, honestly. You can just put a little lock symbol if you
Yeah.
want. But I'm telling you, like, give me some cosmic fear energy around this Ravens lock. I need some kind of ethereal force to come through and help this fucking team lose. Okay. All right.
Oh, that's good.
Also-
Because
That's good.
the Texans are so cool and so fun, and it would be such a cool Super Bowl. It has to happen. Okay.
Yeah,
I am going to choose the Houston Texans.
interesting.
So a little weather update for this game. It's going to be about 25 degrees with 10
Oh, I'm
mile an
taking the
hour
Ravens.
winds.
Yeah, I'm taking the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm
It's
taking
gonna-
the Ravens.
They're gonna run.
They're gonna run.
Dermot has
They're
also
gonna run.
chosen the Texans, and Dermot's 3-0 picking the Texans this year. Which
That
is
is true.
super impressive.
I
but
want
it's
the
something.
Texans, but the Ravens are literally just going to use nonstop running and then play action, and it's going to
I
be
know.
boring.
I know, but
Yeah.
I'm still going to pick the Texans.
That's fair. Packers 49ers, folks.
Niners.
I'm just going to have to lock the Niners, buddy. I'm sorry.
It's
Ah,
all
I
right.
really wanna-
It's a rain game. It's going to be windy, rainy.
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones, but here's the thing. I think the curse might be on Aaron Rodgers, if anything. Maybe
He's just gonna come in and get exploded. Just to...
I don't trust. I actually think the offense can play well against the 49ers. I just don't trust the defense. We are one of the worst run defenses. We give up just big runs all year long. We give it it's McCaffrey. So I'm gonna
You're
take
gonna,
the Packers just because, but
That's
This is like a 95% 49er win in my head.
You know what's funny to me is that like it's gonna be like the game's gonna start. You're gonna be like halfway through the first quarter. It's gonna be like 3-0. You're gonna be like, okay, we're not like losing already. And then they're gonna show like a shot of Aaron Rodgers in the crowd, being like, Rodgers is here tonight. No, and they're gonna have like 6 touchdowns in a row.
Yeah,
The crowd just erupts in blood. Demons flying from the kid in the sky.
Yeah, hey, you know what? I'm happy with this season. It was fun. We got to beat the Cowboys in a playoff game and have a meltdown, and we got a bright future. So I'm already set for this. I'm ready to get demolished.
I am definitely pulling for the Packer victory for the Crendor reaction on the show.
Thank you.
Like, that would be wonderful.
true.
But this is a 1v4 for Crendor. Then,
I will
right?
say,
Yeah.
if the Packers win this game, this would be I will be at Super Bowl or bust at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Because I will be riding very high. I mean, this is it. Like, the 49ers feel like the hardest team to play against.
100%.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. They're the final boss.
This is your NFC championship.
This is the well, I mean, we are conquering demons right now. The first is the 49ers. The next would be the NFC championship.
Right, yeah.
Because then once Love got past those two, then that's it.
Careful, and then you might have to play against NFC Lamar Jackson.
That's
who
true.
Never loses to NFC teams, which is
this is Dermot's lock as well, unsurprisingly.
Yeah.
I might even do it. I
wouldn't blame you one bit.
I wouldn't blame you either.
Yeah.
Buccaneers, Lions.
Give me the Bucks.
I'm taking the Bucks.
Oh God! I thought I was gonna be the only. All right, fuck it. I'll take the Bucks too.
I pick the teams that I don't want to win. This is how this works.
Okay. I mean, I'm taking the Bucks because I think they can win, and I don't.
I actually think the Bucks are going to win this game.
They might.
I'm taking the Detroit Lions. Yep.
Dermot will also be selecting the Lions. You're going Bucks then as well, Rob?
Yeah.
I love it.
I think I just because look, I don't want the Lions to lose. I do actually kind of want the Lions to go all the way, obviously, because I mean that would be a great storyline for this season. But I also really want the Bucks to go to the Super Bowl just because of our storyline in the podcast.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
Dude. Oh fuck. We could have a Packers Buccaneers
like
conference finals, and Sin is forced to come back because how can he not come back on the show for that?
He would have to come back.
And we get him for 2 weeks.
That would be just so funny. That would be our
incredible.
internal storyline.
That would be pretty funny, honestly.
It's very good.
The year Sinvicta's like, not watching this trash football team.
Yeah, these Bucks aren't going to do anything.
Already that has been invalidated completely.
Right,
I still don't think he believed. I mean, he was like streaming while this game was happening. He was like, yup.
I also believe that he doesn't have any faith, but like it's fully ill-founded now because they've already completely outperformed their expectations.
Yeah.
That's
why I want to know what's the breaking point, because he has a strong resolve. You know, he's a strong resolve kind of guy.
Like, he has to watch the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, he's got to watch the Super Bowl.
Way
that has to be the unbreakable threshold, right?
Right. Yeah. There's no way that he doesn't watch the Super Bowl.
I'm so happy that I was worried I would get to, not watch Packer playoff heartbreaking losses for years, and now we're already back to it. It's like nothing changed. It's very exciting. Chiefs Bills.
I'm just gonna regular lock the Chiefs as well. I'm gonna additional, like just to add a little bit of extra spice. Just regular lock the Chiefs.
You know what?
That's in addition to my previous.
I get to lock the Buffalo Bills.
Oh wow!
I think this is it. This is it. They know it. They got to conquer the Chiefs. They're at home. I believe.
This is another Crendor 1v4, right? But Rob, you're going Chiefs too?
I am going Chiefs, yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy, that's fun.
And I guess
Dermot on the Chiefs as well.
I'm also going to lock the Niners, although I do want to point out that last week, Bear, I locked the Cowboys along with you.
I mean, yeah, dude, if this year tells you anything, is don't listen to my locks. I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
That's very true.
But I mean, maybe we have magical powers, and maybe we're cursing the Niners now.
I like it.
What just happened to the Cowboys?
Can you guys lock the Ravens for me? Like, Jesus Christ.
By the way, this Chiefs-Bills game will be pretty much identical to the Ravens game. It's like 25 degrees and 10 to 15 mile an hour winds.
Yeah. Climate catastrophe. That's all.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Wow!
There is part of me that thinks because it's raining, it gives us somewhat of an advantage. Because I do think the 49ers are clearly the better team, but like you never know. Maybe some balls bounce. You know, you get some slip and slides. Right?
I almost want to pick the Packers because in the first set of games, I picked all the home teams, and this week I could pick all of the away teams.
That's a good
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
I'm going to stay with the 49ers.
Well, let's see what Randy's got. Randy, here he is. All right, first things
Randy's going
first.
to pick all the away teams.
He's picking the Texans.
Oh, baby. Here we go.
boy.
He's picking the Packers.
Yeah.
God damn it, Randy! God
He's
damn you!
picking the Lions.
Ah, fuck.
Oh,
And he's picking the Bills.
I mean,
50-50. That's
even
about
split.
Randy.
Yeah,
Right?
that seems right.
And Randy is locking
Packers lock. Packers lock.
it's
Packers
the
lock.
Packers.
the Houston Texans.
Ooh, I like that too.
I like the help me out, Randy. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a
Yeah.
good lock last week. We'll see if it keeps up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's going to do it for
Playoff.
this show. Playoffs.
Playoffs.
And next week, we'll see.
Glad we had a short show today, guys.
Yeah, it was a short show. To be fair, it's a couple minutes shorter than we normally go.
There you go. Yeah.
So much time saved.
Yeah, look at that. Thank you to all the patrons. There they all are. Thank you, patrons.
Thank you, patrons.
Thank you,
Look at that
patrons.
right there. Da, 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 da. And we'll see you next week for a much shorter show, right?
Much shorter.
Much shorter show.
Only 3 hours.
Yeah, only 3 hours. All right. See you later. Like, comment, subscribe. Ba, 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 ba.